afternoon, family and friends, and welcome to the first episode of Tooth Be Told. My name is Erica.
Hey, and I'm Brandy.
Brandy, this is so exciting. Our very first episode. Long time coming, right?
Yes, absolutely. We've been talking about this for a little minute.
Right. So actually, Brandy had came to me. She's like, I have this great idea. I want to start a podcast. And I was like, okay, well, so many podcasts out here. So you better have a special podcast of a niche. And it is a niche, right? Can you tell us a
Yeah.
little bit about how you came up with this and the reasons why?
Yes. I entered the dental field in 2003 as a certified registered dental assistant with an X-ray license, and in 2008 I graduated from dental hygiene school, and I've been practicing as a dental hygienist ever since. So I've been in the dental field for about 20 years, and I also hold a local anesthesia permit to administer local anesthesia as well. And in all of that time, I came across so many of the same different issues dealing with patients. And I just wanted to create a platform where we could give information to those people that would help them to kind of upgrade their dental and medical health care so they can have a more streamlined experience when they visit the dentist, or even just trying to get them to the dentist in the first place. So that was the main
Exactly.
thought behind it.
Getting them actually in the chair because
Yep,
it's hard. It's definitely difficult for some people to
absolutely.
do that. It's just like with anything, like when you start working out, and if you stop, it's hard to go back, or it just it's. But the dentist, people when you say the word dentist, and I'm sure Brandy has tons of stories, guys. So we're gonna
Many, many.
fill our time with not just medical information, but funny stories, sometimes not so funny stories, but she's just going to give you all that. And then the reason for me being here is me and Brandy have a long history, been friends since we were yay high. So, and and
Jay High is hilarious.
yeah, it's true. We were like
Well, we were 12. We
we were
were we
12. We
were
were
little
12.
girls. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so uh the fact that I am a person I take my health very, very seriously. And because I'm a person of color, there's a lot of people of color that don't go to the doctors.
Yeah.
And I mean, I get made fun of a lot sometimes from people. They're like, wait a minute, you have a little bit of anxiety about that. Yeah, because I just need to know what's going on. And
Yeah. It makes
so
sense.
yeah, so and previous experience doing a podcast before, just to help out and be here, and I want to help people just like she does, but she's the expert.
You know what? And Erica's right. The main thing is about helping others, and really, in particular, serving our underprivileged, underserved communities of color for the most part, because that's where I see the largest disparity and I see the largest amount of ignorance from our people. So just trying to give back in a way that I don't see anybody else doing right now.
Absolutely. So we're hoping that we can reach the audience that we're targeting. First thing first, we want to talk about. So this episode is going to all be about being an advocate for yourself, right?
Yes. Yep. You
Okay.
got it.
First things first, insurance. Insurance is really taboo, especially in the United States of America, because you got other countries like Canada and in Europe, and
Giving it away.
they're giving it away, and we got to struggle to get it.
Yeah.
There's a time I was unemployed and laid off because of COVID, and I didn't want to get Cobra because I mean,
Very
realistically, how
expensive
can how can you do that,
to
right?
have Cobra. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like ridiculous. But I was able to get on, and New Jersey had a plan. It's you just put all your information in, your income and everything like that. It was
Yeah.
great insurance, and it was affordable for me at that time.
Hmm.
So can you go a little bit into some of the things that you've seen, heard, about insurance?
Yeah. So the first thing I want to stress to people is I think they really need to be knowledgeable about their health insurance, medical insurance, dental insurance, whatever your insurance is, you should know your plan. So going to the doctor or the dentist, it is really unacceptable to come in there and not know nothing. And patients come in all the time and they want it done for them, which is okay. I mean, a lot of offices will do that. It takes time and you may have to reschedule your appointment, but you do yourself a disservice when you don't know because you can
Mhm.
easily be taken advantage of. There could be clauses in your insurance that are either going to hurt you or help you. You may need to wait certain times, to have your maximums, your deductibles reestablished. So it's important to know those things yourself. Know your coverage, know what your deductible is, know what your maximum is, know if there's any special clauses. Like some insurances have missing teeth clauses. So what that means essentially
Wait.
is if you got some teeth missing, they're not
Wait,
covering nothing
are you
associated with those
serious?
teeth.
Well,
Correct.
they're
So,
not there's no teeth there, right? So
so the clause goes this way, like, all right, say you're missing a tooth, but you want to have a bridge, and that's fine. A bridge is acceptable treatment for that if you have a tooth in front and a tooth behind. But if your insurance has a clause, they're not going to cover anything associated with that missing tooth,
so then you won't be able to get the bridge.
not unless you pay out of pocket.
Let me ask you a question. So
Mhm.
what about if they say you had a this happened to me actually. I
Mhm.
had a root canal done and then I never got the crown done, right? So then they had to take the tooth out, but they told me to go get the tooth taken out in order for them to do the bridge.
Okay.
I think that's what happened.
Mhm.
Maybe I might be wrong.
Well, they may not
Just-
have done
no,
they may not have done the extraction in office. They may have sent you to someone else to have the extraction done, and then you come back
that's what
to have
happened.
the
That's what
bridge. Yeah.
happened because they couldn't do it at the office, and it
Yep.
was on my own fault because I should have went because that's what it was. You have those experiences where it could have been maybe I didn't have insurance, maybe I let it go too long and I was scared to go back because at the
Mhm.
time I needed to go to the dentist. I didn't have insurance, so I was like, okay, and I never got
Right.
the root canal done. It kind of sounds similar to what happened, I think.
Yeah.
But these are all
Yeah.
scenarios as to why people don't go to the dentist some
Right.
sometimes.
And
But
sometimes, like you said, with your insurance, Erica, like you're just not sure, and then you're waiting for somebody to call you. And I'm always telling like, if you leave the office, like, okay, I'm always telling patients, they come back and they're like, oh, well, nobody called me for like a year. So you never thought to call back. Every day somebody says that. It's like you have to take the onus for your own medical and dental history. So that's what
Mhm.
patient advocacy is, you know, being your own advocate, taking responsibility for your own health care, your own dental care, knowing those things, it just makes you that much more powerful when you have knowledge to make informed decisions. And that's basically what it comes down to.
Absolutely, because you gotta know what's going on, and you know what actually happened to me, and you learn from certain experiences. This
Yeah.
same experience, I thought that my extraction was covered. Right, I'm doing this. I didn't. I got a first of all, obviously the tooth wasn't taken care of. I got a cavity. Then I got whatever happened. I got it filled. Then maybe
Hmm.
that came out. Then I had to get a root canal. Then I didn't get the crown on the root canal. Then they had to extract it. Then they had to. Then
It's
I had
like
to get a. Then I had to get a bridge
down and
because of
down.
all of these things.
Yeah.
And these could be avoided basically. Trying to get you to not have to go through that process.
Yes.
So what happened was after I got the extraction done, I got a bill from that from the are those endodontists who extract teeth?
That's
Who
the oral
extract
surgeon.
oral surgeon? Okay.
Hmm.
What does an endodontist do?
It's a root canal specialist.
Okay.
Mhm.
So I then I got this bill and I'm like thinking exactly what you said. I thought that it was covered. And it was like a $300 bill and it was not
Mhm.
covered.
It's
And
not
and like you said, it's not their job to say, "Hey, by the way," and some of them do that. They'll be like, "Just so you know," especially if you're familiar with them, and it's like
yeah.
that's your dentist, and that's where you go, and they'll be like, "Hey, this is what's going on. I want you to know this. This is how much it's going to cost." I had a dentist, my last dentist. They had a great office manager, and she would just be like, "Here, here, here, here," but not everybody's going to do that, right?
Okay, so any reputable dentist, if you're going there to seek treatment, you should have a treatment plan. And on the treatment plan, you should have your insurance breakdown, the that office fee, and the usual and customary fee. So the usual and customary fee is what's in the United States across the board, which is always an exorbitant amount of money. But the office will have their own fees, and your insurance will have their portion they cover. You should know that.
Hmm.
You should know it. But sometimes what happens is they'll send claims off to the insurance, and then the insurance will say, "Oh, we're not paying this because, that tooth was savable and you extracted it. You could have saved it some kind of way. Or we're not paying for this because the tooth was not savable. You couldn't put a crown on this tooth because there wasn't enough bone." So the insurance company will be picky and choosy. So the dentist office is to let you know this is what the fees are, but they're not guaranteed to be paid until the insurance company approves them. So they're working off of kind of like a maybe basis. So they're looking at your, coverages, and your insurance covers this, but they may or may not. And if they don't, you got to sign this paper that says I'm responsible for whatever my insurance company doesn't pay. And every office has that
Mhm.
paper in their paperwork. Whether you read it or not, you signed it, and that's what comes in all that paperwork. That's one of those things that comes in the paperwork that says yours, and that's at any healthcare provider.
Mhm.
It'll say, anything your insurance doesn't cover, you're responsible for. But
Okay.
people think, they go in, they get something done, they leave, and it's in their mind, and just like in your mind, it's over.
Right. And then coming with in regards to insurance, next thing is about medications and um making sure you know what kind of medications you're taking.
Making
Right?
sure you know.
Ha- Tell us about an
Absolutely.
experience that have you had an experience where patients don't know? Because that's an important thing when you go to the dentist, correct?
When you go anywhere,
Well,
I mean,
anywhere, of course, but
look,
I'm
on
just
the
we're speak
humbug, you should know which
yeah.
you should know
What
what
kind
your
of
medications are.
yeah.
But yes, when you go to any healthcare provider, it's even dentists, because people are like, "Oh, it's the dentist. You don't what you got to do with what I'm taking." Like, it's important. So, yes, I have many experiences. One in particular where a woman who came in very well put together. She had on her little red bottoms and hair done, nails done, attractive woman.
Someone
And
you think that would be taking care of this kind of thing. Like you like looking at her like, okay, she got her stuff together.
she was together. She was pleasant. And then I asked her, what medication she was on, and she's like, "Oh, I don't know. I just popped the pills." And I was like, "Huh?" And I was like, "That is really horrible." I'm like, "Are you kidding?" And she's like, "No, I don't know. My husband's out there. If you want to go ask him, he knows." And I'm like, I'm not going to go ask him, number one. But you should know what medication you're on. So, and like I said, this is a well put together woman. She was a younger woman. She was not somebody who needed help with knowing those things. So it was just, and that happens all day, every day. That's just one experience, but it's unacceptable to not know. And if you have a long list, you should have a list that you keep in your wallet, or a picture on your phone. Or some people, Erica, didn't you tell me you have like there's apps
Oh,
like you
so
can do that with?
my app, my pharmacy, I get when I go to the doctors, they send my prescriptions there. So then I can just pull up my app and it shows what medications I'm on. If I don't remember it off the top of my head, which I do, but you just never know. And that's another thing. Like, well, every time I do go to the doctors,
Mhm.
dermatologists, gynecologists, PCP, whoever, they're asking, what medications are you on? Like, so it's like kind of strange that she doesn't
Yes,
know. Like, and she's not an invalid, like you said. And she said her husband, she wanted you to go ask her husband, which is kind of
mm,
ridiculous too. You just taking the
extremely,
pills? Who says that? Like,
extremely
you don't know
ridiculous.
what you taking? And that's when they'll see those cases on Dateline. Oh, they murdered her. What it's easy to murder you because you're not
She was getting
paying
drugged. Yeah, like,
attention.
it's crazy. And on that same subject, Erica, like, okay, right, you need to know your medication, but you also need to know what your health conditions are, why you're taking those medication. People never know. Oh, I'm not, on this. I don't know why I stopped taking this because I wanted to. Or, well, do you have heart disease? Do you have diabetes? Or are you type 1,
I
type
didn't even laugh
2?
about that. It's just I'm laughing about the situation. Like, this is
Yes, because people
crazy.
don't. It's nobody know. It is a rarity that I have somebody come in. I mean, I would say maybe out of 100 people, maybe 10 have their stuff in order, where they're like, "This is what I'm taking. This is what I'm not taking. Here's a list." I
It's
know,
so much more helpful, isn't it? When people have their stuff
extremely
together, it's so much easier to get your job done because
more streamlined.
you're
Like I
not
was
the
saying,
yes, you're not the front desk. You're not That's not your specialty. Your specialty is
I
And
do need to know the medication, so I do that myself because I don't trust
mhm.
anybody, and nobody does it the way I want it done. So I usually I will go through medication. And I had a patient tell me last week that she lied to the X-ray tech about about the medication because she didn't feel like looking at her purse for the stuff. And I was like, "Well, we're not getting started until you actually give me the medication." And she's like, "Oh, okay," like trying to laugh it off. So people do that all the time. They're like,
well,
"Oh, yeah, nothing's changed,"
well, a
and I'll be
quick
like,
question for
"Okay."
you in regards to that. So say someone doesn't tell, they lie, right? And
Mhm.
then you do your procedure and everything, and then something perhaps goes wrong. Now I know there's medical insurance, um, malpractice. I
Malpractice
guess it's, yeah,
insurance. Mhm.
insurance. So I guess that would take care of it, or no, because she lied and didn't say, because there got to be proof. There's proof to whoever prescribed it to her, the pharmacy. Everybody knows you're taking this medication, and you weren't honest. You weren't upfront.
If it wasn't disclosed, then you can't be held liable. So, and the only way you would know that is by taking detailed notes. And so, I know my clinical notes are extremely detailed. I put in what I talk about with the patient, any little thing, even if
Hmm.
it's just for me to remember for next time, so that I'm like, oh, we talked about X, Y, and Z. But yeah, sometimes patients don't disclose stuff, and I find out later. But I am a detective of sorts when it comes to that. I ask a
Okay,
question
Inspector
10 different
Gadget.
ways. There's 10 different ways I'll ask a question. I'll ask, are you allergic to any medication? No. Okay. Do you have any drug allergies? Yeah. Okay. Have you ever had anything that made you itchy or scratchy, or you had any swelling? Or, oh yeah, yeah, I had penicillin. Okay, so you're allergic to something. Like, that's how I have to do people, like Columbo, like getting a whole list together of secret questions I gotta ask to try to get
Oh my
around,
god,
get
because
the
he
answer.
was like that. He was like,
Okay. But literally, Erica asking the same question in a different way. And I do that all day long because people don't tell me the truth,
oh my god,
or it
Brandy.
slips their mind. So
Oh.
yes, you're right. It's a must to know that.
And a good thing to do if you are going to decide to do it and get in that chair, right, is to
Hmm.
have a consultation,
Here we go.
because that'll help and you'll be aware of everything that you need, right?
Yeah, so a consultation is you just basically sitting in the chair and saying, "This is what I want done. I don't know if I'm a candidate. Am I a candidate?" Or, somebody else looked at this tooth and said that this needs to be done. Do you confirm that? So it's like shopping around, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can shop around just like if you shop around for a vehicle. You are a customer of sort when you sit in the dental chair or any medical office. So you're kind of looking to see whether or not you want this provider to service you. And if there's something you don't agree with, you can always get a second opinion. You can and this, sleep on it. You don't have to be held to any treatment just because you sat in their chair and asked for their advice. Just
Right.
know that just sitting in their chair also involves a fee. So your insurance company there's a special code for just consultations or just exams
Yeah.
or post-op exams, whatever the exam is, it is a fee. Erica, a lot of people
I
be like, well,
I
he
didn't
didn't
know
do
that.
nothing. He ain't do nothing in my mouth. He just talked to me. Okay. And remember, we said you got to pay for that doctor's time or provider's time. You can't
Well,
just
it's
sit
like
there
going
and be
to a
like,
lawyer, or you have to. You're gonna pay for a retainer, right?
right.
And that's also like with people don't get it. Like you are your own, being your own advocate. Like you're sitting in that person's chair because you want to be comfortable too with the dentist. I've had a dentist when I was younger, and I
Hmm.
was going there because I had braces when I was younger. Like
Hmm.
I don't know, around the time we met, I think I had
Yeah,
braces.
I remember.
And the dentist I went to, it was like a regular dentist office,
Hmm.
DO, I guess, right? And then they had someone who was, I think it was the dentist's brother-in-law, the wife's brother. He
Hmm.
also worked out of there as the orthodontist. He did. And
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, was he the
yeah.
orthodontist?
And so what happened was, um after I got my braces off, I still continued to go to that dentist office. I was only there for, well, I think I still went there for just regular. I think my mom took me there, but after the braces were off, I had went there, and the dentist, I saw the owner of the practice, and
Mhm.
he was really mean to me. And that's another thing. People are afraid because you want to feel comfortable. So if you do a consultation, you'll see their bedside manner or whatever you chairside manner, right? Is that what you call it?
Yeah.
Their chairside manner.
Uh-huh.
Cause you want to feel comfortable. I don't want anybody in my mouth and they're going to be mean to me. I mean, he was mean. He was like, "Oh, you better come back here." And I get it because people don't come back and then it's going to cause more of a problem, but your approach is kind of messed up though.
Right. You know,
Don't
you have to kind of season your words with salt in a way and just be like, all
not
right, this is
sugar,
what you
not
need.
sugar, salt.
Salt, because when I want a savory meal, I don't want it to be sweet. It's got to be a little salty, saltiness
Yeah,
to it.
yeah, yeah.
And if you want
Okay.
something sweet, use a little sugar, a
Yeah.
spoon of sugar. Whatever the case might be, you got to season it up before you start talking to people. So if you got to,
Yeah.
I have to do it all the time. Like, all right, how am I going to say this? Like in my head before, and still maintaining some professionalism.
Right.
And that's the key. So you have to be able to, tell those things. And sometimes you have to tell patients something they don't want to hear. And it's like you got to brace for the fallout because it kind
Uh,
of comes back on you. I had an experience this
mm,
week like that. It
mm.
happens often, but people are not ready to hear it. And I'll just tell it real quickly. I had a patient come in with her son. He's 8 years old. He hadn't been in a year. And the year before, he was diagnosed with 5 cavities. She never came back, the mom. The little boy's in pain, and the doctor called out that morning. So it was just me and my coworker doing cleaning. So there was nobody doing exams. So I told her, we took x-rays, and I told her, look, you have to come back so he can do an exam. And she's like, oh, well, you took x-rays. Can't he just call me tomorrow? And I'm like, well, he can, but that's only one part of the picture. Like, I feel like he needs to look in his mouth. Well, why you feel like that? I'm like, well, he has a lot of things going on. Well, just tell me what it is. And I'm like, well, as a dental hygienist in the state of New Jersey, I'm not at liberty to diagnose, but I can just tell you that there are some things going on, like certain things I can't diagnose that the doctor has to diagnose. So she was like really mad. She was like, well, is this something I can do today? And I was like, well, the doctor's not here again. So you can't do it today. You're going to have to come back. Well, okay, fine. So she left and went up front and complained to my manager. She was like, oh, she's mean. She wouldn't tell me what it was. If she couldn't tell me, she should have kept her mouth shut. I never want my
Excuse
son to
me.
see her again. So
Let me ask
anyway,
you a question. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but because we're doing this for people of color, was this someone who felt like you were an angry black woman?
no, she was black.
Okay,
She
okay,
was she
okay,
was mad at herself for not
okay.
bringing her child in, and she felt like I was calling her out on it. But all I wanted was him to be seen, because what I didn't tell her, Erica, is that I worked there, and I knew when that doctor came back the next day, he wasn't looking at no X-rays. Like, I knew he was going to be involved with other things, so I didn't want him to fall through the cracks. So
Mhm,
I'm saying all this to say, because you made a point about how you know we want to talk to patients in a certain way, like a kind way, a way where they understand things so they're not fearful about coming back. I was matter of fact with her. I don't know if I was a mean or nasty, and I wasn't
mhm.
coddling her either, because she let this go for a year. But you have to make a distinction between the two, is what I'm saying. So somebody being mean and
Yeah,
nasty or somebody being matter of fact are two different
right,
things.
right.
And I was really doing her a favor by being like, you need to come back, because if you don't sit in his chair and he look in his mouth, he might miss something that's you can't really see on the x-ray. You got to look at clinically. Also, I know he's suspect at getting back and looking at stuff from the day before. So, and I could care less if she ever wants to see me again. People think that means something. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I'm going to work regardless. The job I work at, there's thousands of
Yeah.
patients, but
Yeah, that makes sense though. You're right. Because sometimes you have to be stern, not the fact that you're trying to be mean. You just have to be certain, like,
you
this is
just
what
have to
it
let
is.
people know. And
Yeah. And I get that. But he was mean to me.
but he was me. That's what I'm saying. So
He
you
was
know the
me.
distinction.
It
At
sounds
least
like
know it.
you definitely would just try and let her know. And
I was
sometimes
trying to let
people
her
are
know.
intimidated by someone because they might feel it's their own issue. Sometimes they might feel less than, but that's not your problem. That's that person's problem. And she felt less than because
I think
she
she
did
did.
this. Yeah,
Well,
because
because
she
she knew that he was in pain, and it had been like she
right.
had never addressed
Who
it.
does that? You want to
I
now? Like I
called.
It's not your fault. But the other thing is like, really, why does he have 8? Why does he have, sorry, not 8. Why does he have 5 cavities? Why?
Well, I
And the
don't.
fact, I mean,
And
not
he
you.
was in
I'm just
pain,
saying, I'm just, yeah, like, this is
and he was in
ridiculous.
pain. That's the main
Yeah.
thing.
Like, what are you just
And
letting
so,
him?
I'm sorry, Erica, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
But what I was going to say was the whole point of the podcast is to help, especially people of color, like this young lady, just to understand like it's so important. Our children, I mean, out of all the children in this country, are the least likely to get dental care before the age of 12 years old, like, and have issues. So he's 8 and he had cavities diagnosed the year before that weren't addressed, and now the baby's in pain. And when you have certain type of unresolved, cavities like this, they can turn into gross infections that can even kill you at some point.
Mhm.
And there's many cases. All you gotta do is Google and see of children who have died from having infections in their mouth. So it's really a crazy thing, and we want to try
Mhm.
to help our people to just understand their dental care better, and not to be so afraid. Like, even if it's just a little thing, just getting in the door, like you said, Erica, just getting in the chair, at least see what you
Mhm.
need to have done and take baby steps. Once you can make moves, and then you can be
Yeah.
like, all right, you know what, next time I'll go back, I'll get a cleaning. Maybe I was too scared to get one this time, or maybe I'll get my filling and I can get my mind right, but at least know where you stand.
You gotta pull that Band-Aid off. Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Well, you know what, Brandy? I think that that was so much great information. I'm hoping that our family and friends that are watching um tune back in to get more information from you. And some laughs in between.
Yeah, hopefully
so,
too.
so thank you so much for tuning in.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have episodes coming up once a week.
Mhm.
So you can tune in. You can check us out on our website, www.toothbetoldpodcast.com.
Yes.
You can have questions. You can send questions to us. You can see our bios. What else can we see on there? We can see what we
They can also email us. Like, if
email
you have
us.
any questions about anything dental related or whatever, it's toothbetoldpodcast@gmail.com.
Correct. Yes. And on our
So
website, links to our Facebook page, our Instagram page, you know,
YouTube.
YouTube. Yes. Yep.
Mhm,
So we
mhm.
want
Yeah.
everyone to be well informed, right?
Oh, and TikTok. You got TikTok on
Oh,
there,
TikTok.
Erica? Because
TikTok
Erica's
too, right?
gonna be
Yeah.
doing the
Yeah.
TikTok, because I don't
We're
do
gonna be doing TikTok.
TikToking because
Yeah.
I haven't made it there yet.
I have a TikTok page, but I don't have. I just be, I be
Doing
looking.
that,
I
doing
just
it.
be looking. I
You
be like,
surfing.
I be sending you stuff, but I be sending in our little chat. I mean, yeah. So this is gonna be so exciting, just to help out and get people in their chair and to stay in the chair every 6 months for their
Yes,
cleanings.
yes, yes, ma'am. That's the goal.
Yes. All right. So, everybody, have a great afternoon, evening, whatever it is that you're doing at this moment.
All right, you
Morning.
guys take care. We'll see you next week.
Yep. Bye.
All right, bye.